Time once again to follow along with me, Miss B. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the like button, and hit the notification bell for new videos every week. We're in week 7 of quarter 2, Elements of Art, and this week we're going to explore space. Supplies you'll need for this assignment will be paper. You can also use a pencil or a black colored pencil. Let's start by folding the paper into 6. So to do that, we're going to roll our paper into thirds first. We've done this before in a couple of our other projects. So we fold both sides in until they're even, and then press down to make a crease. So we should have a tri-fold or 3 sections. And before we completely unfold that, we're going to fold this paper in half. Now, once we open it up, we should have 6 sections. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So in the top center section, I'm going to write the word space. This is to label our assignment. I'm also going to put a box around it, so not to confuse it with what we're about to do. Then I'm going to number each section. So we'll have numbers 1, 2, and 3 across the top, numbers 4, 5, and 6 across the bottom. So the first spatial element we're going to play with is overlapping. So this is where one object would be placed in front of another. And that helps us give the illusion of which one is in the front and which one is in the back, and if there's anything in the middle. The first thing I'm going to do is draw a rectangle or a viewfinder box. And I'm going to do this in each section, and this is going to be the area in which I'm drawing. We're going to keep this assignment fairly simple, and we're mostly going to be working with circles today. So not directly in the center of my viewfinder box, I'm going to draw one circle. Then I'm going to make it overlap another circle, and that one will overlap another circle. I'm also going to draw my horizon line so I know where they are in this space. And now we know which one is in the front, which one is in the back, and which one is in the middle. So by using overlapping, it gives us the illusion of where our objects are in space. So the second spatial element we're going to look at is shading. Now we've done a little bit with this. 3rd grade, you haven't done much with this yet. 5th grade, we've been doing this since 3rd grade, so this should be a little bit easier for you. Again, I'm going to start with our viewfinder box. And I'm going to draw my circle right in the middle. And I'm also going to draw the horizon line. Now, depending on where you put the light, depends on where the object falls in space. Now, we did this with the cubes when we were practicing form. We're just doing this with a circle now. So remember to start lightly when you're shading and gradually go darker to the side that is opposite of your light source. So my light source this time is going to be on the right. So the lightest side of my circle will be the right, and the darkest side will be the left. I'm also going to add a shadow so that I know exactly where this circle is in space. Shadows also help us ground our objects so that they're not floating. So our second spatial element is shading. So we know that this ball or circle is on the ground or on a solid surface, and that the light is coming from the right. So we know where it is in space. Our third spatial element is going to be placement. Where we place these objects in our picture can help us determine where they are in space. Don't forget to draw your viewfinder box first. And I'm just going to randomly draw a few circles on my paper. Then I'm going to shade them in to ground them. And again, placement shows us where they are in space. So I have one that is further back towards the top. I do have ones that are closer toward the bottom, some out to the right, and one out to the left. So again, our third spatial element is placement, where you place your objects. Our fourth spatial element is going to be size. So how large or how small we draw something can determine where it is in the space of our picture. So I'm going to start by drawing my largest circle, and then gradually get smaller and smaller as I put them on the paper. And by doing this, we can see which one is farthest away and which one is closer. Things that are closer are going to appear bigger or larger, and things that are farther away are going to appear smaller. So depending on how big or how small you draw something depends on where it is in space. If everything is the same size, it becomes a lot more two-dimensional, and it's hard for your audience to figure out where you have placed your objects or where they're supposed to be. Think of it as drawing a person next to a tree. You wouldn't draw them the same size as a tree. The tree would obviously be larger and the person would be smaller if they are in the same exact plane of space. But if your tree is a lot farther away and your person is a lot closer, then your person's going to be drawn a lot larger than the tree. And that's what we've done in this size picture right here. Is we have made our largest circle closest to us and our smallest circle farthest away from us. And I'm still shading and using my shadows to give dimension and show where the light is coming from to ground them on the paper. Our fifth spatial element is going to be value and focus. So how dark or light something is puts it either more in focus or less out of focus. Objects that are closer to us are going to be a lot clearer than things that are farther away from us. So things that are closer are going to have more detail and attention to them. Things that are farther away are going to be a little bit more fuzzy or out of focus. So again, starting with my viewfinder, and I'm going to do my most in focus circle first. So this one is going to be the closest to me, and it's going to be the darkest in value. Now with my second circle, I'm going to overlap it a little bit, and it's also going to be a little bit lighter than the first because it is a little bit farther away. So I'm not going to shade it in as dark. So the value on this is going to be a little bit lighter. As I draw my third circle, I want to make sure it's lighter than my second circle. As we draw these circles, they are going to get lighter and lighter and harder to see. Drawing my fourth circle even lighter than third, shading it in even lighter. And my fifth circle is going to be barely visible, but it will be on the paper. So value and focus. How dark or light an object is, and how clear or refined it is as opposed to how blurry it might be. Again, objects that are closer to us are going to have the most detail. Objects that are farther from us are going to have less detail. And then finally, our last spatial element is going to be linear perspective. Fourth and fifth grade, we've definitely done this before. Third grade, this will be new for you. Starting with my viewfinder box, and I also want to start with a horizon line. And we want to make this more towards the top of our viewfinder. So give yourself a good horizon line, and then we want to create a vanishing point. So a point on that line that moves out toward us. So a very light triangle there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill my circles in in between that triangle or triangular vanishing point that comes down. So things that are closest to us, again, are larger, more in focus. Things that go away from us are smaller and less in focus. So my first circle and my circle closest to me is going to be the darkest. Okay, it's also going to be the biggest. And we're going to shade these in accordingly and also give them shadows at the bottom. We want to ground these on our paper. So we are going to put all of our elements of art together in our project next week. But now you have a better understanding of what we're talking about when we talk about space, or what I'm looking for when I ask you to give your objects a place in space. Don't forget to submit this assignment on Schoology for full credit. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on Schoology. Click that like button, guys, and have a nice day.